Yo guys, what is good? Welcome back on the Uncle Sharma channel. Good morning. If you are tuning in from Europe like I am here in the UK, it is 10:45 or 10:42 a.m. here. Woke up about an hour ago and I thought didn't manage to sneak in my match preview yesterday. So there's a 5 p.m. kickoff here in UK, so might as well sneak one in. And yeah, let me see who's in the house. I'm not expecting too many people in the house. There's Inter Worldwide in the house already. Thank you, sir. It's probably Anthony, I'm guessing, because you were messaging me just a couple of minutes ago. And yeah, by the way, guys, these guys have opened up their channel membership. I've joined already. So make sure you guys, if you want to support one of the few Inter content creators out there like me, like Solo Interpod, like Jerry Mancini and Alex Dono, there's not that many people out there. So make sure you guys go and support the boys over at Inter Worldwide. Denzel Dumfries in the house. What's up, bro? Are you playing today? Yeah, you had a bit of a stinker against Bayern, my man. But yeah, hope you can redeem that. Marvel Lawson in the house. Le Français. Emira Dropic in the house. Kuli Baba in the house. Could be a big week to attract new fans to the Serie A. Yeah, very, very good point. It's a shame though that there's no like big matches, unfortunately, because the Premier League obviously is cancelled due to the death of the Queen Elizabeth. So Premier League has been cancelled, but it doesn't affect us Serie A fans. We're still feasting. We're still watching some lovely Serie A football, some calcio. So yeah, maybe could be the week that we tempt him, but you guys know it doesn't usually work like that. I remember when everyone tuned into was it Dortmund Bayern, the big opening fixture of or was it not Dortmund Bayern? Was it Dortmund? It was definitely Dortmund. Was it Dortmund Gladbach? It was definitely Dortmund. But yeah, I remember when everyone tuned into that was like the first match after the lockdown period. I don't think that enticed anyone to watch a Bundesliga after that. So it's yeah, but hope maybe people open, at least Premier League casuals maybe open their eyes to something else other than Premier League. Kura Black in the house, what's up? Stefan Butcher, 5:42 in Barbados. Blessings, wow, Stefan, you are up early. Respect to you. I only get up at that type of time if something if I'm forced to. Otherwise, you'll never see me up before 7 o'clock. Into what do I say? Denzel proper bench for Matty Dams, yeah, probably will be by the looks of the predicted lineups, and he probably deserves it as well at the moment. What do I make of the Prem being cancelled, Michael? Yeah, to me, it's weird because I thought it would have made sense if they cancelled all the other sports, but as far as I know, the rugby's still going on, the cricket's still going on. And it's such a big inconvenience because Premier League, you have so many international fans, they must have booked flights, tickets, traveling, hotels, all that kind of stuff ahead of time, and canceling out of nowhere, I'm sure it's big inconvenience. So yeah, I don't really see, I thought you could have gone on and paid your tributes and respect in the match or before the match, but it is what it is. Oh yeah, Dortmund versus Schalke it was, yeah, and Dortmund just completely destroyed Schalke, didn't they? Premier League casuals are 2-0. Yeah, exactly. We don't even want the Premier League casuals really, because they water it down. They water down the product anyway. But the Serie A, we can't be beggars can't be choosers. We do need more eyes on Serie A if you want to make more money. But I know what you mean, Christian Potato. But yeah, today, guys, obviously we're gonna preview the match. But first, I want to talk about all the ownership news, because it's been like almost like a whirlwind, or like a bomb has gone off in the last couple of days in terms of the ownership situation. And I'm still really leaning towards the fact that I don't really see news in this, and I'm glad I kind of waited a day or two to talk about it, because the rumors were coming out. I remember in my post Bayern stream, some people were asking me, the PIF rumors are already returning, PIF, Sport Italia were talking about it and stuff like that. So I'm glad I actually waited a couple of days to just see what the situation is. And then once again, guys, to me, if you followed my channel for the last couple of years, I've been saying Inter are for sale. There's no doubt about Inter being on sale. So the news that's come out that Inter have been put on sale, it's not news to me. It's not news. So yesterday the big one was when Fabrizio Biazin, when he tweeted out that the Zhang family have given Goldman Sachs the mandate to sell Inter for 1.2 billion euros. So this is where kind of things started to get serious, because all the Inter, in the world of Inter sources, I'm not going to say Biazin is the most reliable, but Biazin is known to be perhaps the most insider Inter journalist, because he literally plays Fantacalcio. He plays fantasy league with Ausilio. Like, he has like a direct line of contact with Ausilio Marotta. Like, he's known to be a little bit of an insider, but it doesn't mean that what he says usually is correct, because sometimes he's probably fed incorrect information from inside. But when Biazin says it makes you think about it much more seriously. And then, it says here, the U.S. investment bank Goldman Sachs has been given the mandate to sell the Nerazzurri for an offer of at least 1.2 billion. So remember, we used to talk about Zhang wants 1 billion, but now apparently it's 1.2 billion. Suning have been linked with the sale of Inter for some time, when the financial situation of both the club and the parent, company, Suning themselves, is not very good. However, now, according to Biazin, the Chinese company have taken the decision to sell Inter and have initiated the process of looking to see if a buyer can be found who meets the valuation, although it will remain to be seen if the search is successful. And yeah, this is his tweet. And again, he says in the tweet as well, it doesn't mean that buyers will arrive tomorrow, but it means that the process has started. But again, to me, this is nothing new. The mandate the mandate to Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs have been assisting Inter for a while with the financial situation. They've been given a mandate before in the past. So guys, remember over a year ago there was the negotiations for BC Partners and Inter, and then those were proper confirmed. Like, even BC Partners came out and talked about it, and this was around March 2021. So yeah, like over a year ago. So that was the original mandate, part of the mandate. Like, that was the original time when Inter were already looking to be sold. So Inter have been on. This is nothing new. I think that the thing is that negativity going around Inter. Of course, this sells, gets a lot more clickbait. But at the same time, the difference I see from last year to this year now it seems to be a lot more public now. Whereas, well, we'll see. Marotta will probably speak before Torino match today. But usually, you remember Marotta, when he's asked about it, he says Suning are here to stay. Steven Zhang looks for Inter for the long term. I think the only difference now is the fact that it seems that they're going to come out public with this, in terms of, yes, we're not, whenever you ask Suning, even Steven Zhang at the end of remember the video that he did for Steven Zhang after we won, the Coppa Italia at the end of the season one, he talked about, long-term project at Inter still. I think now the only change I see now is the fact that they've gone public. But again, that doesn't change anything. This is not like you're selling like a house and there's going to be a lot more people coming through. We're talking about people with billionaires. There's only they're not. It doesn't really matter if you come out with it public or not. But it means that it seems to be that they've accepted the situation. But at the same time, again, it doesn't scream to me as they're desperate to sell. A 1.2 billion euro selling price or asking price is not someone that's desperate to sell, because no one got even near 1 billion last time. Last time the asking price was 1 billion. I think BC Partners got around 750 or 800 max. Like, they got nowhere near the valuation. Some people reported there was an unnamed buyer negotiation that offered 900, which was also rejected. I think Biazin talked about that as well a few months ago. So that, again, doesn't scream to me as someone that's desperate to sell, because he doesn't want to sell at a loss. Like, after they bought Inter, and they've ejected a lot of capital, guys. That's one. I'm not pro Suning or pro anyone, but fact-wise, they've probably injected close to €1 billion, including the buying and the capital injections and all that kind of stuff. They've probably invested more than not more than they should have, but like, I don't think the investment was very efficient. The money they wasted at the beginning with some of the purchases that we made. The Conte era, guys, I know, like, we like that Conte forced the owner's hand to buy Lukaku, buy all this, but that Conte era was very, very expensive for us. And then, of course, the pandemic hits us. But, Conte's 12, 13 million net salary, Lukaku 75 million, Barella, Hakimi, Marotta earns like 4 million. Like, this is it was a very, very expensive project, those 2 years of Conte, even though last year, they didn't really do much, but it was a very big investment. And then, it worked out in the end. Again, I always say this, I would do, if you gave me the option, I would redo everything that led to the Scudetto win. But there's also a reason why, we weren't able to sustain that, unfortunately. So, they've done some good stuff, but I think they could have done, they did get bullied by Conte in that period. But again, we couldn't have predicted the pandemic at the same time. But now it's definitely, we know it's time for them to go since the pandemic, really. But again, people say, like, why doesn't he sell? And I agree, like, us as fans were saying, just sell even at a loss. But it's, think about it from their way, they've invested, close to €1 billion into something, and you're asking them to, just accept whatever offer comes along. Which obviously, as I said, like us as fans, that's what we want. We're just like, Steven, just take the L, take the loss, and just leave us. But he's and it's, I think the Milan thing complicates things as well, because Milan, our cousins are just across the road or across the stadium. They just sold the Milan have just been sold for 1.3 or 1.4 million. So that now, that's why probably why his asking price has just increased as well, because he's just saw those guys, even though they've got their debt situation is a lot more clearer and a lot more cleaner in terms of the debt situation. But that complicates things now, because he's probably thinking like, yeah, I can get more. So yeah, again, so I don't really see too much difference in the news that's come out in the last couple of days. Like, to me, the Goldman Sachs search was going on for a while. Oak Tree themselves, the company that gave into the loan for 320 million euros, the one with the high 12% interest rate. They don't want to take over Inter. So if Suning don't pay that back, they take over Inter, but they don't want to take over Inter. So they themselves have also been assisting to look for potential owners. But that's the problem. No one's biting. No one wants to buy. Like, now, I think the difference today is, my thumbnail. There's an actual board now, like outside the house, outside the stadium, there's a for sale sign. Whereas before it was like, few exclusive people would know, like if you're in the, the world of business investment and, banking, maybe, and if Goldman Sachs reach out to you, you may know about Inter being on sale. But now it's like, it looks like everyone knows. But again, to me, there's not much of a difference. That this mandate was given to Goldman Sachs a while ago. And even here, Sport Media set a report that, they're saying the reports are circulated the past couple of days talk about Suning looking to sell Inter, 1.2 billion investment offer from Saudi. They talk about that PIF negotiations. But according to reports from emerged today, Suning have mainly renewed the mandate. So whatever the mandate was to Goldman Sachs to look for a buyer. So as I said, to me, this was, this is old news. They're just continuing this search. Resources within the club do not confirm this, and rather the owners are mainly. So this is the thing that was happening last year as well, that Suning were actually looking for partners, like even in that search where no one actually wanted to be. So Suning don't actually want to sell their majorities. They want to sell, the Lion Rock share, which was like, I think there's 31% of the club, but no one no one wants to buy a minority share of a club that's losing money. So everyone that actually came in the end was looking to buy the majority. And yeah, of course, we got the 400 million bond and the 300 million short-term that loan as well. So it's a complicated situation. So let's see what happens. And also, as we saw the report coming out yesterday was, there was that Indian American owner, the NBA guy, that was looking to, like, so now I'm going to ask one thing of you guys is, like, don't come under my videos now every time there's a potential interest in Inter and ask me, like, what do you think about this owner? Because it's it's basically like there's going to be like the transfer market where we end up speaking about every little potential rumor. Like this guy that's come out, and it's Tutto Sport as well, which is not a great source at all. But this Vivek Ranadive guy apparently owns the Sacramento Kings in the NBA, and I've been told they're like the worst franchise in the NBA. So already not looking good there. But all it says is that he's interested. That's all it says. It doesn't even say that he's entered negotiations. It doesn't even say that he's put in an offer. All it says is he's interested in Inter. And now, as I said, the fact that we've gone public with it, it means that every Tom, Dick, and Harry, every newspaper is gonna put a name out there. So just like it's gonna be an interesting period now moving forward. It's gonna be it's gonna be like the transfer market basically. It's gonna be any player or in the transfer market, linking any player under the sun, and then hope something sticks. And this is going to be the same with this ownership. It's going to be any one of these. It's going to be a lot of Americans for sure, because it shows that Americans are definitely interested in Serie A more than any other. So yeah, let's see what happens. But I'm just asking you guys to not be drawn to every single rumor, then try to think about start imagining this rumor and this owner becomes my owner of Inter. Like, just give it some time and see which ones actually enter in any negotiations or offers for Inter. Then we can talk about it. I don't want to talk about every little rumor about Inter. Saf in the house, my boy. Honestly, ownership won't change the situation much at Inter. That FFP, Serie A, the issues won't be turning into Man City and PSG. 100%. That's the thing. The only thing, though, Saf, the only thing that a new ownership can bring, though, is that stability of not having to sell. That's the one thing that instantly a solid, or not any ownership, it has to be a solid, ownership. If they can. The fact that because Suning, because they can't inject any liquidity, any capital into the club because of the ban of China, the Chinese government into investing into foreign goods, they one thing they can do is just solidify the fact that we don't have to have those rumors every summer of having to sell players and having just to stay afloat. So that's one thing that there could be improvement there straight away. But yeah, overall. And then the debt depends it depends how the negotiations go, because the fact that Suning have taken out the Oak Tree loan is like they've put their Inter shares on collateral, but it's not taken out on Inter. That loan, the bond is on Inter. The 400 million bond is on Inter. So the new owners would take that on, but the bonds are like those are long-term loans that most clubs have some sort of bond running on the club, so that's not too much of a issue. The worrying one is the Oak Tree one, but that in theory shouldn't be given on to the buyer of Inter. That should be cleared before the buyer takes over Inter. But yeah, the key always is the stadium revenue. Like that's the most important thing. Revenue in general, that's the most important part, especially with the new FFP, which is like the change from the current one was going to be, I think 70% of your revenue can be spent on squad costs and things like that. So it's important that you up the revenue. And yeah, of course we want a sensible owner. Like the video so that uncle can buy Inter. Yeah, make sure you guys leave a like to the video. I wish, bro, if I was a billionaire, you guys know I would be the first up there to make an offer. I hope Marotta confirms it today. Yeah, again, to me, it doesn't make too much sense. Because I don't know how much that adds. Like, guys, we've already got so much uncertainty going on within the team as well. So I don't know if I actually want him to confirm it, to be honest, because that there's enough uncertainty going on at Inter. Like, we still want some players to sign new contracts. So adding some uncertainty, I don't think that helps to the situation. But I guess, yeah, making the situation clear can help. At least if Marotta confirms, and then we know what the dealio is. Inter should win to get the morale up. Yeah, definitely. Jesus Christ. China still do zero COVID policy, makes harder. Yeah, exactly. That's one thing we were hoping, that maybe China opens up or loosens their policies, but they haven't. Nothing's changed since COVID. Nothing has changed. They've they're still very strict with it. So unfortunately, there's nothing we can do. Good morning, Ilyas. The King sucks ass. Yeah. I've heard from many NBA guys that these guys are really bad. Got a mixed feeling. I think we should sell one screen. It's easy now. It's easy now to say. Like we were all like, you know, begging for these guys to stay. But it's easy now to say in retrospect, and because their form has been bad at the beginning of the season. But you know, we were talking about it. That's the only way we're going to be able to bring players in, is by selling one of these big guys. And the team needs refreshing in general. I was for, you know, it was going to be painful, but I was for, you know, bringing Bremer and Milinkovic in, even if it meant selling Skriniar, because the team just needed, you know, renewal. It just needed some fresh blood in. It's still this pretty much in the core of the team is still the same as it was like 3 years ago. Which, you know, in theory you'd say is good, but you need to refresh it with new blood every year, which is why Conte left. Elon Musk interested, yeah, sure. That would be an interesting one as well, for sure. That he would do something very different with us. We'll talk about the lineup news in a moment. Deshant, I've just jumped in. Are we actually a go? Yeah, Tim, as I said, there's nothing new to this news. So, you know, I don't really get the furore or the excitement over this, because to me, this is the same news that we've been talking about for over a year. Goldman Sachs giving the mandate to buy. The fact that we know, as the Italian finance journalist here, Bellinazzo, says, Chinese companies' investment stopped in football. We talked about it. You know, after the pandemic, this was done. Chinese football investment is done in Europe, especially, and in their own domestic football. They have gone the opposite way of football now. As a situation that's ongoing, that Chinese investment in European football has come to an end. Inter are relying on self-financing, but that's not a viable option or path for the long term. The idea of a sale has been on the table for a long time, exactly what I said. There's still a very high valuation, which I don't think anyone's going to meet. With the sale of Milan acting as a benchmark, and again, as I said, I think that 1.4 million sale of Milan is going to be, is the reason why the valuation of Inter's gone up now as well. And then this is his own opinion skeptical about the PIF, because they already own Newcastle. They would have two clubs and could not have both in the Champions League. But I know, and you guys know, there's plenty of ways around that, you know, as we've seen with a Red Bull and, buying companies under different names and stuff. But, you know, let's see what happens on that situation. So I just wanted to clear that up. So the only difference I see now from the last year or so is that maybe this is more public about Inter being on sale. But Inter guys have been on sale for over a year. This is nothing new. All we can hope is that someone comes in that can actually pay the asking price, and is someone that has a long-term sustainable project. That's my hope. That is my hope. Interested in my deal owner, maybe someone like Valerio De Laurentiis, just sustainable, have media presence to protect Inter from all the BS. I mean, I don't know how much De Laurentiis protects from BS, but someone in Serie A, unfortunately, guys, because of the limitations in revenue, we can't have, owner shelling, millions and millions in losses. That time is kind of over. You can do that in the Premier League because the revenues cover the costs. So anyone that's going to come in is going to have to be somewhat sustainable, somewhat, still looking to be, the losses can't be over 50-60 million as well, like in terms of the FFP and stuff like that. So it's going to be still not like the owners, the youth thing that's going to come in and buy Haaland, Mbappe, and all that kind of stuff. It's still going to be restrained, but it just means that we can sleep a little bit more easy at night, hopefully. I hope we can get good. Rich owners, I can't believe how beautiful a transfer window would be where had even 60 million transfers. Exactly, that's what I mean. Like, even just having a transfer budget would be nice, not having to be first think about selling players and then buying players. It's good to have at least like a budget. Like even just having, even if we had to make this year we had to make this plus 60, even if we're zero, even if you have to make the same outgoings as incomings, we would have been able to at least bring in a defender. It's you can't continue like this. So yeah, again, same situation as last year. It just means that someone needs to actually come in and pay the asking price, which is all we can hope. Hey Ali, thank you for catching me on the live stream. Abdul, yeah, let's talk about the preview for Torino now. I don't want to spend here too long because I actually want people to rewatch the stream before the match. So let's get into the predicted lineups. Actually, yeah, let's quickly touch on what Abdul said in terms of worried about our performances. I am worried as well. The team just looks nowhere near the same as last season, and yeah, the shadow of Deki Stankovic is definitely looming, guys, on Inzaghi. Not because he's the chosen one, like Stankovic is, but it's just because this is what happens at Inter, a big club. Once you don't win, we've had 3 losses in 6 games, like 50% losses. This is at the beginning of the season, conceding too many goals. So the margin for error at a big club like Inter is just small. But it doesn't mean that he loses against Torino today and Stankovic comes in. It's just because Stankovic is at the moment available, and the rumors are starting to flare up. So yeah, these 3 matches: Torino, Victoria Pilsen, Udinese, probably decisive for Inzaghi's future. We need a turnaround. We need a turnaround. That's the most important thing. And it looks like there's been like a squad therapy session, almost like as it says here, the Sempre Inter headline, group therapy to find consistency after the team on the verge of crisis. Inter squad and kind of group therapy. Yeah. As they work to put in disappointing recent losses behind them and really kickstart the season over the coming matches. So yeah, apparently they talked about the issues. Apparently there was like some strong words said. Apparently Handanovic, Barella, these type of guys, they were the ones that were speaking up and being honest about the issues that are ongoing. Marotta was there, Ausilio was there, Ferri was there, Anton, like the whole team of directors was there, the whole coaching staff was there. So it was like a big group reunion to talk about the issues that are ongoing at the moment. And yeah, I hope it works, man. I hope it works. I don't know what this team needs. I know everyone's pointing towards having like a guy that shouts at these guys, all that kind of stuff. Like, we need Conte back, all this kind of stuff. But at the same time, guys, I'm just shocked at how weak these players are mentally. Like, you shouldn't need a guy like Conte all the time when you're back. Like, that's embarrassing to me that these guys seems like they need that type of person to be guiding that. That just shows to me that they're very weak mentally and they're just not as good as we thought they were. Because being a top level footballer is not just about the ability; it's about being able to self-manage yourself. You shouldn't be needing to be a guy to be telling you exactly what you need to do at every time, of where to piss, where to go to have your shit. Like, to me, this is more embarrassing than Inzaghi not being strong enough for Inter, which is true. We know this is one of the things we talked about with Inzaghi in terms of when we signed him, is like, does he have that personality? Like, he does of a character. He definitely isn't in the media. Like, he never comes out and says any strong statement or goes against the media, or he's always just kind of happy to go as things are and kind of avoid strong subjects. So in terms of that, he's definitely not the usual successful Inter coach as we've seen over the years. It has to be like Trapattoni character, with Mourinho, Mancini, Conte. Like we've seen at Inter, it seems like you have to really have one of those strong characters to be able to succeed at Inter. But it is what it is. Niak, I think you've joined the stream late because I've been talking about Inter, if you've watched my channel, Inter have been on sale for over a month, bro. What I'm talking about is the YouTubers that are talking about PIF. That, you know, I'm talking about those YouTubers. And again, I have no, if those guys are right, I never said those guys are wrong. I'm just saying that those guys are coming out and they've been talking about it for a whole year. They get a lot of views, a lot of clicks, but nothing has happened. But maybe they are right. And again, I'd be very happy if those guys are right. All I'm saying is that whatever they said hasn't come through. So Niek, you probably come in late. That's just the modern footballer can't think for themselves. Yeah, but Milan, bro, Ian, Milan purely is, as I said in previous stream, purely is he's even nicer than Inzaghi. He's known as Padre Pioli, you know, like almost like they call him like a priest. Like he's one of the nicest guys in football in terms of coaches out there. He doesn't come out and say any strong, but those guys are younger than our players. So those, in theory, they should have even less of a, you know, strong mentality. But look at those guys; they can, and they don't have a great ownership. Like they were owned by a. Those guys weren't even going for the Scudetto last season, and they won the Scudetto. Like, I have even more respect for these Milan players now. Like they're showing it on a level that even this season, the way they've come out, and they're ready to go again. So that's true that, you know, footballers these days is a bit different, but this is like the way that these Inter players have behaved over the last few weeks. So it's yeah, I'm going to put you in timeout, Nia, because you just keep putting the same comment in for some reason. Limone is a company man. He loves status quo at the dressing room, and that's also the reason why he was signed by Suning. Uomini forti, destini forti. Inzaghi ain't got that kind of character despite his potential as a coach. Smiley, yeah, that's what I mean. At the moment, that's what he's showing. So hopefully he manages to turn around. But definitely at the moment, he's not showing that he's a uomo forte, a strong man with a strong destiny. Well, we think his destiny is strong. You know, in Italy, we believe that, you know, he's one of the next big coaches coming out of Italy. Suning will 100% sell more players before leaving. Well, it depends when the sale happens. You know, if it happens soon rather than later, then no. Priests tend to like young boys. Milan, there's a lot of young players. Oh, damn, that's a good one. That is a good one. And yeah, Marotta spoke the other day as well. Marotta came out and talked about, you know, having faith in Inzaghi. But he also did say, you know, things need to be fixed ASAP. Inter are going for the second star, so he didn't shy away from that. But there is a clear belief, and they seem to indicate that there is a clear belief that the coach could be doing better. So yeah, it was good that he came out the other day and said that. And yeah, you know, Marotta talked about brave decisions as well, but at the same time, yeah, Inzaghi made the brave decision of starting Onana, but then now, next match, he already announced in the post-Bayern, Handanovic is going to be starting. So again, he is shying away from some big decisions. But yeah, these are the predicted lineups for later today. Sky Sport Italy are really predicting some stronger changes than Gazzetta. So they're saying that he's going to rest Skriniar for D'Ambrosio, which is surprising. At the moment, none of these whatever back three projected is, I don't feel comfortable with any of them. It's so weird. Like over the last few years, you feel comfortable with pretty much any back line of Inter. But right now, even if it's Skriniar, De Vrij, and Bastoni, I don't feel comfortable. So it's weird at the moment that even with this, I don't feel comfortable even with D'Ambrosio coming in. De Vrij coming back in, but again, De Vrij, again, you know, he had a really, really bad derby. But at the same time, De Vrij, actually, when you think about it, guys, overall might have been our best defender up until now this season in terms of the level, the consistency. But then he had the massive dip of the derby. But that's the weird thing if you think about it. Like, you know, the Lecce game, Spezia, Cremonese, like De Vrij has probably actually been one of our better players this season in the back line anyway. But then the Milan game was just, you know, embarrassing. Bastoni has been really worrying, but he had a poor start to the last season as well. Bastoni, I remember pointing that out at the beginning of last season where he was showing some sort of complacency or something. So hopefully some of these guys just need to turn their form around. It just seems like they just bang out of form physically. and technically. One guy I would rest though is Hakan. Like this guy's played a lot of 90 minutes now. His performances haven't been good. Derby, he had a stinker against Bayern. I don't think he was good at all. So I would actually, I think Mkhitaryan was probably best outfield player against Bayern. So I would have given, Mickey the start here. Or even maybe someone like Aslani, just give someone a bit of fresh legs in there. But I know Inzaghi usually likes to start either Di Marco or Hakan just for the set pieces. And Matty Dom's coming in on the left, and Dumfries. But in terms of Gazzetta, who have been a little bit more spot on recently with their predicted lineups, they're saying Di Marco starts on the left and Darmian on the right. And I think that's probably more likely because Dumfries has started the last 2 games. So I think Darmian is going to come in. And then Di Marco didn't start the last one, so I think he's going to come in on the left. One thing is for sure is going to be Dzeko Lautaro. We go through those periods where we ask, Correa should be starting and stuff like that. But, the way Correa came on against Bayern wasn't good enough. Dzeko overall was okay against Bayern. So I guess, continue with Dzeko, I don't mind. But they are starting Skriniar, Gazzetta with De Vrij, Bastoni. I would probably opt for this because we need a win 100%. Like this is a must-win match. Like we cannot have a draw. We cannot definitely have a loss. We cannot start losing ground straight away from our competitors. We need to get back on the saddle and get the 3 points on the board. But I think basically, a lot of it is based on some of these players just waking up and becoming, playing as they know they can play. Like I talked about Brozovic against Bayern last few games. Brozovic, he's not been good enough. Like some of his mistakes and technical mistakes is just not Brozovic. Like some of these players are just not looking like themselves at the moment. Where is the incentive for Onana to even train the rest of the week? I mean, that's just how, goalkeeper position isn't, that's the thing though. Inzaghi announced at the beginning of the season that Handanovic is his number 1, so we can't moan at that fact. But it looks like the reports are coming out that, as I was hoping, at least Onana is going to be the UCL keeper. So at least against Victoria Pilsen, he's going to be coming back to be the starter. But again, the Torino match actually is the perfect match for someone like Onana because of his kicking ability. We saw against Bayern, like some of those pings, guys, like straight into the chest of Dzeko, in the path of someone. And Torino, probably the best pressing team in Italy right now, because Atalanta, they're not as good anymore at pressing. They've changed their philosophy a little bit. Torino, in terms of the intensity and the style of pressing, they're probably the best pressing team in Italy. So this is the match that if you were to make a technical decision, Onana should be starting this one because he's better than Handanovic with the ball at his feet. So this is the type of decisions where Inzaghi is also, losing our faith at the moment, where, Onana clearly showed us the tools that he can bring to this team, but he chooses to continue with Handanovic. Saf, that's the thing where Interisti will protect Skriniar. I don't think Interisti at the moment are not protecting anyone, where I think this is one of the few times where I've seen everyone is kind of being, thrown under the bus, which is, or like being, put under the microscope. If Simone wants to win the game, the key is Aslani. I don't know if Aslani is the key to winning the game, but definitely some sort of fresh ideas and fresh legs. I think when things are not going well with our starters is definitely, I would throw some new fresh faces in there. And that's the thing. Aslani, Limone says he sees him pretty much as a vice Brozovic. Yes, but Milan have players like Ibra and managers like Maldini behind. Yeah, but we've got Marotta, the guy who's won, the consecutive, the best CEO in the game. We've got Javier Zanetti. Like, who do we like? It's not like we've got scrubs in the back. Now we've got Riccardo Ferri coming in. But again, the core of our team is much older than Milan as well. Zlatan isn't going out there and playing for them at the moment. It's maybe he gives you some nice rousing speech, but I think people overrate those kind of things sometimes where it looks good on camera. But then people used to moan about players like like Vidal being in the team. This like so maybe it was good to have some sort of experience in the team as well. So it's one of those things. But at the same time, the drop off in mentality and performance, guys, can't be that bad. Yeah, Onana's definitely good. Yeah, Belanova, I don't know when we'll get to see him starting. It seems like Inzaghi doesn't trust him at all at the moment, but I would put him in, especially in the second half. So I'd like to see him being inserted as kind of like a wild card because of his athletic ability. Hi, Uncle. It will be a nice game and great challenge to a midfield. I still believe that the key to our season. Yeah, 100%. You know, you saw Barella, man of the match against Cremonese. When our midfield is playing the way it should be, then we don't have that many issues, because the problem is not just the defenders themselves. Like, the defending also comes from midfield and also the strikers. You know, we talk about you know, an example. You know, that's what I was moaning about. I tweeted about Lautaro against Bayern, and people were you know, like, oh, why are you going against one of our better players? Everyone's playing badly. But I'm talking about in general, when we're talking about defending, it's not just the defenders or the midfield. Like, this, it starts from the strikers. So, like, yeah, here the Kimmich, the first goal. You know, we know Lautaro would be pressing the hell out of anyone there, and you know, most of the match he did. But then just that moment that he didn't, Kimmich had all the time in the world to put that ball in behind for Sane. And yes, there was lots of mistakes at the back. You know, Dumfries maybe not covering, and maybe he should have slid for the goal as well. So the defending starts from the front, and you know, Torino are the best example of that. You'll see tonight. You know, Sanabria, whoever's starting up front, Vlasic, whoever's starting up front for them will be pressing the hell out of us. And that's how Torino managed to be one of the best defending teams in the league, because they defend. Their pressing is how they defend. So it's going to be a very, very difficult match. But there's no excuses for this Inter team. It's good enough to beat that Torino team. Yeah, Antijuice, we already talked about it. Inter's sale rumors are legitimate because Inter have been on sale for over a year. So it's just the fact of someone actually coming. If you're talking about PIF, we don't know if the PIF rumors are legitimate, because those ones haven't been confirmed once again by any reliable sources. But the fact that Inter are for sale is 100% confirmed for over a year. We've been talking about it on the channel. The harsh truth fans can accept is the club, which isn't making money. Suning have invested plenty of money, but the club is not solvent. Generally, don't know what fans expect. Yeah. But that's the harsh truth of Italian clubs in general, because of the revenues are so low, bro. Italian clubs just don't make money, and that's why no one's really interested. But Americans, for some reason, are seeing the potential of Italian clubs. You're seeing so many clubs now are American-owned. Roma recently, Milan, they're already American-owned, and now the new American owners. Even Spezia, Atalanta, Fiorentina. Like, there's all the new incoming owners in Italy are American, so they are seeing that potential for these clubs. But yeah, at the moment, like, you know, that's why no one's willing to really stump up the cash for Inter, because you're coming into a loss-making business. But you know, if Serie A gets their act together, if maybe these Americans finally, with their capitalistic views on things, and maybe able to change some things of how Serie A is run, they're able to change the trajectory of the revenue making of Serie A clubs. But at the moment, if you're coming to buy a Serie A club, you're gonna have to accept that you're gonna be making some losses in the short term for sure. So it's not very attractive. But yeah, I definitely agree much more with the Gazzetta lineup, starting Skriniar, starting Di Marco versus Lazzaro. That's going to be an interesting matchup if Lazzaro does start. He's had an okay start to his Torino time, by the way, so that'll be interesting. Dembasek, if he starts, keep an eye out for him. He was my pick. I should have picked Radonjic, but I picked Dembasek in the end. But keep a lookout for him. He's an exciting winger, 19-year-old from their youth system, left-footed. If he does start, and Vlasic has been in very good form for them the last few matches. But yeah, that's I agree with that. Let's finish up with some match predictions. Honestly, guys, I'm struggling to predict the win at the moment, the way that we're playing. I'm going to predict a draw, to be honest. I'm not being like negative or anything. The way that we're playing, the team's not really showing me that this team is ready to bypass a strong press like an aggressive physical team like Torino. So I'm predicting a draw, to be honest. I'm going to go for a draw, 1-1 or 2-2, because Torino don't really concede many goals either under Juric. By the way, Juric is also ill at the moment. He's got some sort of illness that he was in hospital for, so I hope he gets better. So he's not going to be probably on the sidelines, but usually this means that the team plays for him, like even better. Yeah, Voivoda's okay. Yeah, he's like right-footed, cuts in, but I don't really like him as a player, but he has been performing quite well. Singo had some sort of injury, so he might be. So here it says he is 60-40 to Lazzaro in percentage-wise, but if he's fit enough, they'll probably play Singo, which is not good for us. But we also want Lazzaro to have the game of his life against Inter, which is usually the case. Anti-Juice says 2-2. 1-0 Torino Real Terror Football. Yeah, exactly. Another 1-1 against Torino. Francesca says 2-1. Oh, Francesca, I hope you are not right, man. 2-1 win won't be easy, but the player owe us a performance. They do owe us a performance, but I don't know if they can give us the performance that we need. Pata Inter win goes from Dzeko and Hakan. We definitely need a better performance from Hakan. And Hakan actually really struggles against these types of teams. Hellas Verona last season, Torino last season, like he really struggles against these teams that press us. So yeah, there's another reason I wouldn't start Hakan in this type of game. 2-1. Juric has pneumonia. Thank you, Ian Kerr, for confirming. Yeah, I knew it was some sort of illness, but yeah, hopefully he gets better soon. 1-0 to Inter. Jesus Christ, I hope you are right. Again, I'm gonna go for. I'm gonna be uncharacteristically negative. I'm gonna go for a draw. I'm gonna go for a draw for Inter, but I hope they prove me wrong today. And yeah, hopefully maybe some of the other competitors drop some points. It's Champions League games are coming thick and fast. They're going to be some surprise results, I think. I don't know. Torino just one of those teams that just their games are just not usually high scoring either way, just because of the way they play. But that would be a madness of a game. Saf says he's going to go for a 2-1 win, but wouldn't be surprised with a draw or loss. Exactly, bro. So yeah, I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. Hopefully I'm proven completely wrong. I'll be very happy to be proven wrong. If it's a win, I'll be proven wrong by a loss. Sampdoria Milan, on the other hand, yeah, I don't have any faith in Sampdoria to do anything. We actually need Atalanta to start dropping some points at the moment. They're getting a bit too gassed. Spezia are actually like a bit of a bogey team for Napoli, so hopefully they can come through. I have no faith in Salernitana. Yeah, not any particularly big games this weekend, but I'll still be tuning into Serie A for sure. But yeah, we need a big statement for the players. Please, I want to see some players returning to form. I want to see us conceding less shots, less hot, burn moments, hot attack moments at the back. Please, I want to see some solidity, hopefully a clean sheet. We need some clean sheets to get that confidence back in our defending. But yeah, thank you for tuning in, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. 48 minutes now. We talked about preview, the ownership situation, and of course, we'll see you for the post-match reaction. Ciao ragazzi, always, Forza Inter.